What's up, fight fans? Thanks for joining us here on this Saturday morning. My name is Gary Symington, coming to you with the fighting news. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Coming to you today from the great state of Minnesota, happens to be my home state, as well as the home state of my esteemed guest here today, the next great American heavyweight, Thomas the Train Petersen. How we doing today, Thomas?
Oh, it's snowing out. I'm just happy to be inside. It's a good day. We're gonna go start training here at noon. So just excited God to open my eyes today.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. And Thomas and I were talking before we went live here. You just closed on your house. Congratulations. Tell us a little about that.
We're moving to Webster. We're busy right now. A lot of things are busy. We just had a brand new we just had a child, a baby boy. And so life's just busy right now, and then we're working a lot too. So we're just trying to get training in. Now we're making training a priority now that we got this house closed, and so we're just getting back to it, getting the gears going again.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome, man. Sounds like some tremendous stuff going on in your life right now. And talking about your career, kind of setting the table here. So correct me if I'm wrong. You're 5-0 as a pro. That includes an undefeated record as an amateur, and even all of your fights as a pro have ended in the first round by KO or TKO. Do I have that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's unbelievable, man. Putting on for Minnesota. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So, before we get really talking fighting, obviously you just closed on a house. You've got the baby boy, and but tell us a little bit more about Thomas Petersen outside the cage.
Well, I work full time as a mechanic at Apple Valley Ready Mix. Usually I try to get 50 hours a week if we're busy and all that good stuff. And so I work full time, and then I love the hunt. I love the golf. I love my wife. You got a lot of fun things are happening right now, man. A lot of stuff that puts a smile on your face, and I love my baby boy. We're just blessed with a lot of good things happening around us right now. So we're just, life's good, man. I live a pretty good, happy life,
Absolutely, man. And that's, part of the reason we wanted to speak with you today. I think that you're in a very interesting part in your career. Starting 5-0, can't do much better than 5 first-round finishes. So I think it's all up from here for the Train. So getting into your career a bit here, I actually have a couple buddies who know Thomas here in the Lakeville, Minnesota area. They tell me you're a hell of a wrestler. So you tell me a little bit about how you got into MMA and how you kind of got to where you are today.
Well, so I grew up wrestling. Like, I've been wrestling since I was probably 3 years old. My brother was in wrestling. My dad was a captain back in the day, right? So he wasn't anything special, but one of the hardest working guys around. That you hear stories about everyone that knew Disco Dan back in the day.
Disco Dan,
the guy. So I got brought up into it. My dad got us into wrestling because it was just something he knew about, and he wanted to be a part of our life, something we could do forever, right? And so I started wrestling when I was 3 years old, and whatever, it was always a blast. We traveled the country, we traveled the states, and so it's been a ride. And then once you hit high school, it starts becoming a little bit more real and competitive. You start to mature a little bit more, and it's not just. It's funny how the roller coaster goes of competition, because at one point in your life you're like, my high school days, I wasn't a cocky, arrogant asshole, but I was a little bit more arrogant than I am now. But you realize, like, when you're competing in high school, like I was a 2-time state champ, and I went to. A lot of people don't realize this, but I went to North Dakota right after high school, and I went there to wrestle for college or whatever. But so I went there wrestling, and I went there for trying to get a degree, but I'm never a very good school guy, and but I went there and wrestled. And I wrestled 197 for Division I North Dakota State University, and I was having trouble in school. Wasn't really making it work. I loved wrestling, but it was just tough. Everything was tough, and not that that's a reason to quit, but I just hated school, and I started failing out of classes, and it just wasn't going right for me, right? So I went to work full time after that. After getting out of North Dakota, I went to work full time and go to school up here at Hennepin Tech. I don't know if you know that school up
Absolutely.
here, and yeah, so I was there for a heavy. I was going there for a heavy truck mechanic, and went right to work at Sunstone. And anyways, so I started to miss wrestling, man. Like I went from being a high school and college, where high school, you're an arrogant kid. College, you're an arrogant kid, kind of. But you get humbled. You get humbled quite a bit, but you're still kind of arrogant. But what I kind of learned from that time off. I took a break. I took a year off of wrestling, competing sports
Right.
altogether, and I just learned that. Oh man, I like wrestling because I like it for me. Like I like to compete. Like it ain't nobody. It's nobody else that's pushing me. It's not your coach or it's not your parents or your girlfriend. I realized it was, hey, I like doing this stuff. Like it almost got lost a little bit in all the, you left school, this and that. It was like I was never gonna compete again. But then I realized that I ended up going to Iowa Central in Fort Dodge and under Luke Moffitt, who was the coach. And Iowa Central's got some baddies over there. You know what I'm saying? Like they got John Jones, Kane Velasquez, Kobe Cunnington, all these guys came out of there, right? And I wrestled heavyweight, like I was wrestling 197 my whole life, and or for the past 6 years, right? And you realize that takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you mentally and physically, just because you're not worried about getting better, you're worried about getting weight off. And
Right.
so you start to, you realize that I go to practice and I go, all right, I need to get 4 pounds off today. I need to get 6 pounds off today. And you lose love for the sport. And that's kind of where I was running up. So I was happy that I decided that, I had a clear mindset of, hey, I do this because I like to do it, and it just, everything took off from there. We ended up, we went there. I won a national title at heavyweight, junior college. And our team won a national title, and once that was over, I got coaches. I got one more year of eligibility for Division One, and a lot of teams are offering me big rides and all that shit. But I don't mean to swear on this, but and
Don't worry about it.
I realized it was over for like I don't want to go to school. Like there was a reason why if I was gonna go compete, I would never and went to school. I just knew the university route wasn't the route for me because I never was. I don't like the university system that well, and I just didn't apply for a job that I wanted in the future. So I figured I had two options. I could go into train for Olympics and try to make a run for that, or I could kind of switch gears and go into MMA a little bit. And I figured I'd test the waters with MMA because the Minnesota Storm team trains at 10 a.m. here for freestyle, and that's the Olympic wrestling style I would have tried for. Not saying I would have been, on the team or a medalist or anything like that, but it just didn't work out because when you're working full time, you're up at 5 a.m. and you work to 4 p.m. So it just
Absolutely.
there was no way I could make the practices for the freestyle team, and
For
so I
sure. And it's
decided.
kind of, when one hand you got the Olympics and the other hand you got MMA, I think that you've made the right choice here. You're certainly an entertaining fighter. Absolutely. At what point did you say, time to stop doing amateur fights and it's time to go pro? When did you decide that, obviously you don't need school if you got heavy hands and a couple national titles and state championships, but when did you decide this is my career now?
Well, I tell you what, man. Like, I got into fighting. Like, so I did it, and the first, it was supposed to be one and done. Like I told my wife, like I'm married, and I'm just doing this shit for fun, to stay in shape,
Right.
so I don't lose weight. And I like to compete, and so I go, I'll test the waters. I'll do one amateur fight, and then I'll probably be done. One and done, Core. And then that happened. Now it was 5, and whatever. I wanted to go pro. after my second amateur fight, because because the stuff is, it's good for people that really haven't competed, and it's good that if people do not know if they want to, do this or not, but so I decided to go pro, and I had to kind of fight, a lot of coaches kind of want you to stay amateur and make sure that you're all good and that you're perfect and whatever. But I decided, if I'm gonna do this shit, I get off the pot. You don't want to stay an amateur and then have 15 amateur fights and get burnt out and go, oh well, I fought
Absolutely.
amateur. So I made the jump, and man, I just tried to get 6 fights. I tried to get 3 or 4 fights a year, but like COVID messed it all up, kind of, right? And
right.
So yeah, man, like I got 5 fights, and I think I've been 2 years as a pro, and man, we had our nose to the grindstone for 2 years. Like, we never really left camp. We were training hard. Like, man, it's been all a trip.
Absolutely, man. And that's impeccable. And, I'm not a fighter myself, but one thing I hear about, starting a career in the way that you have is staying busy. You don't want to sit there and wait for the fights to come to you. You want to go, you want to stay active. And obviously, COVID throws a wrench in things, but staying active in spite of that, I think you're on a rocket ship trajectory right now. And obviously, I would never ask you to divulge the secret sauce, so to speak. But if I may ask, the beauty of MMA is that it really is mixed martial arts, and the people who have success are people like yourself who have a background in one art, and then they're able to develop some heavy hands. Having a wrestling background and having all your wins by KO or TKO is something special. So my question is, if you can share anything here, what's your strategy and what's your mindset heading into the cage? What are you setting? Are you looking for these knockouts, or are you feeling out your opponent and seeing what they give you, or are you going in there and trying to wrestle and just finding your way to some knockouts?
No, man. Well, I tried to completely, embrace the idea of mixed martial arts, right? I tried to really work on my hit striking. I try to work on my jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is one thing, man, but like you take a grade A wrestler and you throw him against a grade A, jiu-jitsu guy. I think Bo Nickel did it against who's the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world right now, like Gordon Ryan, or I think that's his name, and Bo Nickel, who is a world-class wrestler, does it. They're different worlds, right? So like you need to adapt. You can't just go into MMA thinking, hey, I'm a meathead wrestler. If you have that mindset, stay in wrestling. Like there's no
Right.
because you're not gonna succeed. Like you might be able to beat grade C fighters, and not saying I beat the baddest of the baddest or anything, but you need to develop. This ain't 1980s MMA anymore. These are world athletes that are developing and adapting to every arts that comes along, to every technique, and that's what you need. And my mindset in this game is a lot of people go in there with a game plan and shit and try to stress themselves out that it needs to go this way and it needs to go that way for me to do this and me to do A, B, C, D, and F, and E, whatever. And so I try to go in there as relaxed as I can to where it won't if something does go wrong, it doesn't affect me, because my game plan is, hey, I'm gonna go fight, I'm gonna go have fun, and I think that's the biggest thing is going out there and having fun and being willing to adapt to everything that comes along. And I just try to stay relaxed and have fun out there. That's why everyone's doing this. Everyone's doing this because it's fun and you get to test yourself. And so I think that's my game plan is I don't go out and look for a knockout. I don't go out and look for a takedown. I go out there and we touch hands, and then it's instinctual at that point. I know I can develop, I'm jabbing, he's ducking to the left. I'm going to throw a head kick when I fake a jab. Like I can process things when they come, and it's because of training and just trusting yourself that I'm in there and I know what I'm doing, and it's, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do the best I can, I'm going to have fun. And
absolutely, man. I think that's the perfect mindset. You're not holding yourself to some kind of script. You're going there, letting your training, letting your coaches, guide you to a victory. I think that's absolutely perfect. Looks like we had a question on the feed as well, and that kind of leads into my next question as well. 5-0, hell of a start to a career. What do you see next for you as kind of your next step in MMA? And specifically, what do you think about Khabib's new promotion kind of coming on the scene? I saw him throwing a couple elbows at Dana White, saying, you know, I'm here, I'm in Miami. You know, what do you think about Eagle FC, and where do you see your career going next, promotion wise?
Man, it's, you gotta get lucky. Like I didn't jump. So my last fight, I kind of had some stress. Everybody has stress, right? But like my kid was like due like within a month of my last fight, and that really like not the pressure, but just the, you know, you want to be there for your son, you know, and we didn't even know what it was. We were finding out, and so that weighs on you, as in, because like you said earlier, you want to stay busy. But I had to take some time off from fighting because of my son. My kid was going to be born any day, and so I took some time, hit the brakes, a little bit relaxed. I got offered a couple, you know, contender fight, and then I think I got offered a prelim fight, you know, when my kid was going to be due any day, and so I had to decline them, and they seemed to understand, and they were really really cool about it, that, you know, my kid is due any day. So I'm hoping that I can get back. I'm not as hot as I was. You know, I wasn't straight off the press. Like after winning that LFA belt, it's kind of a big deal when, you know, because they're
Absolutely.
kind of a great regional, even worldwide company, but they're a big feeder for the UFC, Bellator. You know, so I'm hoping everybody wants to go to the gold standard, right? The UFC, and I'm hoping that my opportunity comes. But I'm not against Bellator. I'm not against you know, going to, if Eagle FC is the real deal. You know, I'm not against
Absolutely.
that either. But everybody, you know, you want to be, at least right now in this era, you know, UFC is the gold standard. I want to be up, and I want to test my mantle with the best. You know.
Absolutely, man. And I think, you know, well, that's awesome. First of all, hearing that you were offered a contender series fight, as well as, you know, a prelim fight. I can definitely see you repping the home state of Minnesota on one of these UFC cards soon. And you're young, you're undefeated. I think, you know, there's nowhere to go but up from here. And,
Good.
you know, I think you kind of answered my next question there. I was like, I want to see this guy on, you know, The Ultimate Fighter, if they were to do, you know, another heavyweight season of that show, or contender series. But, you know, any way you cut it, I think you're headed to the top here, going to the Bellator as well. You know, there's so much free agency these days, people moving from promotion to promotion. You know, I think you got it on lock. So I got two more questions for you. First one is, if you were to compare yourself to a current UFC heavyweight, or, you know, current or past, you know, any one of the heavyweights that the fans here would know, who do you think you kind of look up to, or who do you think your style is similar to?
I think like I'm a mix between like Stipe and I like Stipe Miocic, because he's one
Love
of,
it.
I'm not a big,
He's the man.
right, and he's one of the classiest guys I've ever seen. Him and Daniel Cormier are both super classy guys, and I think I'm a mix between them two, right? I think I'm as good as a wrestler, or, you know, whatever, that I can hang with Daniel Cormier. You know, in my mind, everybody, all fighters are psychos, just letting you know. But in my mind,
Love it.
I can hang, right? And then that Stipe is kind of the proof that you don't have to be a giant to be a heavyweight fighter. Like we're
Right.
stuck in a weird class where there's no. I'm not going to cut the 205 because I just know how my body feels. And then once you start sucking that weight, you come to fight at like 70%, unless you're doing
Right.
it right. But like, unless you're doing it right, but in my situation right now, I can't do it right because I work full time, and then to try to do that, maybe one day I could be able to do it, but I feel fast, I feel strong, I feel technically sound. I'm focusing on getting better at heavyweight. I like how I feel at that weight, and Stipe is proof of might have been the best to ever do it at 240 pounds. Daniel Cormier,
Right.
what is he, like 5'10" or like 5'12",
Yeah,
like
seriously.
5'11"? Yeah, and he's able to beat these guys. Like, it doesn't matter if you got the goods, you got the goods. You know, it doesn't matter what weight
Bingo.
class you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
think that's
love
a
that.
huge thing in the sport where people are just killing themselves cutting weight and just not worrying about getting better. And then they fight. They think in their minds that they'll be the strongest 155 pounder when they're cutting from 210. Nobody will be able to be, take my punches or whatever their theory is. But when they get to that weight class, you don't realize that your muscle is eaten. You don't recover. We get a 1 day weigh-in, so we get a day to rest. Your body isn't recovering from what you just put it through in 1 day.
Exactly.
And people realize that in my mind.
Even hearing Dustin Poirier after that fight, he's like, I don't think I'm going down to 155 anymore. I think he's going to do this Nate Diaz fight in January on the Ngannou Cyril Gane card, which will be great to see. But I think after that, it's welterweight or bust for Dustin Poirier. But yeah, no, I think, even wrestling at 197 back in the day, realizing that that's not where your body's at these days. And like you said, you feel fast, you feel strong. At heavyweight, why cut down? So, I totally agree with that. So last question, Thomas, really appreciate your time today. I'll let you get back to setting the new house up here. But one thing I got to ask, I'm a betting man myself. We got quite a card here tonight in the UFC. Last card of the year, free on ESPN Plus, headlined by the rising star, kind of like yourself, Mr. Dawkins versus the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Who are you picking tonight?
Man, I like both them guys. They're both. I think that other guy was a cop, wasn't he, or something like that? Or
yeah, Chris Dawkins was a cop in Philly, apparently in one of the most dangerous precincts in the entire city. And he was kind of doing MMA part time, a little bit like yourself. Now you're ramping the training up and taking it full time, obviously. But he put the police work aside, so he's full time MMA now, and. Honestly, a lot of similarities there. He's 4-0 in the UFC. Only one of his fights has seen the second round. Even he's got four knockouts, 3 in the first round. But you can never sleep on Derek Lewis, man. Houston's absolute beast.
Yeah, I like both them guys, man. I think Derek Lewis is gonna. It's hard to bet against that guy, especially if somebody's gonna want to strike with Derek Lewis that isn't like Gagne, who is so slick and so clean. You get into a dirty fight with Derek Lewis, you're probably going to lose.
Exactly.
I've been wrong before. So no.
As have I. That's for sure. Well, awesome, man. Thomas, I first of all, I appreciate the pick. I'm gonna have to go to my bookie and submit that. But second of all, man, really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's great to talk to a rising star here in my home state of Minnesota. Again, coming to you with the fighting news. Please like, subscribe, tune in for the next episode of TFNSANITY. Hoping to bring you all the best content of the entire combat sports world. I myself specialize in MMA, but we're bringing you boxing, bare knuckle, everything. Even triad combat, brand new promotion on the scene. We do it all here. Thomas, thank you again, man. Best of luck. I can't wait to follow your career, watch your fights, and watch you make Minnesota proud, man.
Thanks, my guy. Thanks for the interview.
Absolutely. All right. Enjoy that house. Enjoy your family, man, and have a great holiday.
All right. Thanks, my guy.
All righty. Talk to you later.
So that was a great show, Gary. Thank you so much for being our Saturday interviewer.
Absolutely.
So you were talking about Eagle FC, like Khabib. The money that they're spending on fighters, this is like going to be legit.
Seriously, I'm excited for it. If anyone has the mind for it, it's Khabib. I think he does have a good relationship with Dana too. I know Dana kind of likes to stomp out some of those other up and coming promotions, but I could see this being a promotion that kind of runs side by side with the UFC. Obviously, Khabib has the ability to attract talent. He's already poaching people who have been dropped off the UFC roster. And as I said in the interview, Khabib was in Miami the other day, and he said, "If you don't know, now you know," quoting Dana and all of his pre-fight videos that he does ahead of the UFC card. So I'm excited for it, man. I think it's going to be awesome. It might be a wrestling heavy promotion. I don't know. I'm sure he'll get a lot of those AKA guys out of California as well. So who knows, man? I'm excited
he's
for it.
He's doing a show in Florida. His first show is going to be in Florida.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be, that's one. I'm sure you'll be there. That'll be a great one.
For sure, for sure. I'm actually looking forward to it. He is a guy you just want to see. You just want to see him. It's like one
Absolutely.
of those is a phenomenon.
Kind of like Ray Seffo for the PFL. It's nice to have
Yeah.
the face of the promotion be someone who's really been around the block and, pretty much unilaterally regarded as the GOAT in the lightweight division. So I'm excited for it.
So Ray used to do World Series of Fighting before it became, PFL. And I remember him from those days.
Right. Yeah. Taking it back. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Seffo's the man. Had the opportunity to meet him at the PFL World Championships as my boss here, Steve, and I were hanging out. And great guy. Took the time to say hello. Have a lot of respect for Ray Seffo.
And what organization other than PFL gives away $6 million in one night? Like, that is
seriously
incredible.
6 title fights in a row. Can't ask for much better than that as an MMA fan. Truly a phenomenal evening, and can't wait for the next season here. I had the opportunity to sit with Brendan Loughnane and his friends at the PFL Championships as well. Excited to see what him and his Manchester cartel are going to do this year in the PFL. And nothing but good stuff. MMA's rising like a rocket ship right now.
So speaking of one of those $1 million winners, Kayla
Harrison, yeah.
Harrison. She was recently at Amanda Nunes fight versus Juliana Pena.
And she was devastated when Pena won.
Yes, she was like,
that's a paycheck for Harrison that she's not going to get now. But that fight will happen, whether it's for a belt or whether it's for, a UFC fight night at the Apex. Kayla Harrison will fight Amanda Nunes. And regardless of the circumstance, it's going to be one of the best female fights that we've ever seen. And my hat's off to Juliana Pena. I think that watching that fight, I think there was a little bit of quit in Amanda Nunes. When you spend so much time, I think that was her 8th or 9th title defense.
Yeah.
And she also holds 2 belts. At a certain point, you kind of want to get off that mountaintop a little bit and you want to have the target off your back. So I think that she kind of saw Pena as someone who was really going to try to step in there and take that belt from her. I think a lot of these other girls, were happy to get the fight, but were almost defeated before they got in the ring or in the octagon with her. And so I think Pena earned that. She's also out of Spokane. I got some family out there. So, I love a Spokane victory there. They have some good martial arts out there. Brady Heastand from the Ultimate Fighter, as well as everybody's favorite fighter, Michael Chiesa. Gotta love that guy. Rough loss to Sean Brady in his last outing, but I think he'll bounce back. So good to see Spokane mixed martial arts on the scene, and honestly, good to see something get shaken up, in the ladies divisions. I think Valentina Shevchenko and Amanda Nunes are kind of just on a different level than everyone. Now we got Pena holding the belt, Kayla Harrison coming in. Nothing but good stuff happening.
Hell yeah. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley.
First of all, hey, congrats to Tyron. I mean, he's having a good year. I'd love to see his revenue stream by the end of this year getting 2 Jake Paul fights. So can't argue with that. Saw Jake Paul gifted him a Rolex as well for taking the fight on short notice.
Yeah.
Who knows what Tommy Fury.
What did he say? What did he say? He gave him a Rolex and said, "What? It's time."
Yeah.
What did he say?
What was the quote? It was like,
"It's time to kick your ass."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And Ariel Helwani was doing the interview, and he was like, "Hey, that's a good one."
That's a good one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, how do you see that fight going?
I mean, those are tough to predict because, and I hate to sound like I have some sort of conspiracy going or whatever, but I just feel like Jake Paul's going to win all those fights. Like it seems like it's preordained. The Ben Askren fight. Okay, you're boxing a wrestler. You're probably going to win that one. But the Tyron Woodley, the first one, it's like you would think, Tyron's one of the best strikers, obviously out of his prime, but in his heyday, former champ, hell of a striker. You would think you would put Jake Paul out, but I think really what Jake Paul is trying to do here is make that huge money fight with Conor McGregor, and he's got to kind of beat these guys and make his way up. I think Tommy Fury was a wise next choice for him, given that Tommy Fury is actually a boxer. One of the biggest knocks on Jake Paul is that he hasn't actually boxed a boxer yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Tyron does. I think it's still going to be Jake Paul. He's also just huge. It's underrated how big Jake Paul actually is. But, I think it'll be entertaining either way. But I think that Jake Paul's not going to risk his little trajectory here by losing to Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a good show. Keep them coming. That flow was really good. I learned a lot about Thomas today. Thank you so much. And if I do not see you, let's have a happy holidays and happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Same to you. We'll keep the interviews coming, keep the articles going online, and hope for a great 2022 full of some crazy fights.
All right, Fighting News fans, follow us. YouTube, The Fighting News.
Woo!
Follow us on Twitter, The Fighting News. Follow us on Instagram at @the_fighting_news, and also at The Fighting News, which was our original account until it got blocked, and then we had to start another one, so it became _fighting_news. But like, tag, we repost, we go all out. Thomas, Gary, make sure you get Thomas's mailing address of his new house, and we'll send him a care package with some TFN gear.
Absolutely. I'll do that right now. And appreciate you, Steve. Have a great holiday, brother.
Have a good one.
All righty.
Deuces.